we've gone from like those two pilots of 400 odd apartments to nearly 30,000 today in 4
In
years.
Could you tell me a little bit about you and your career?
Sure. I think it's good to point out I come from a property background, not a technology background. So I've got a 20-year career in real estate sales, project marketing, new developments, and new construction, residential sales. So before I started this business, Erin Living Technologies, I was in the property industry, and it was only through discussions with my business partner Anthony, who's the tech guy in this in the organisation or at a co-founder level, that we decided to start Erin. And yeah, that's kind of what brought us here today. My industry experience matched with Anthony's tech and product experience.
Can you tell me a little bit more about Erin Living and what you guys do?
Sure. We've just coined the phrase a livability super app, which is community led. We basically power different types of residential communities, whether that be apartment buildings, retirement living communities, student communities, build to rent, build to sell. And we basically use technology to connect people to their home, to each other. And we provide all the different aspects of community living on one.
What challenges do you have, or did you have, prior to engaging us to build your tech platforms?
Yeah, so we're obviously going back a while now, nearly four years ago.
Yep.
When we sought out to build Erin, there was quite a bit involved from the outset. If we were to build the product ourselves, we would have had to hire a number of different people within the business, and it just wasn't commercially viable at the start. So we made a decision to run a tender process to find an external party to build our MVP, or minimum viable product, to just get it in the hands of our sort of first customer base, and then sort of build the team off the back of that. So we during 2020, virtually during COVID, obviously we ran a tender process.
Yes.
And we had a recommendation through a personal connection to Rocket Lab, and Rocket Lab was one of 5 that we sought after, and we shortlisted that to 3, and we asked for a proposal from Rocket Lab and 2 others, and yeah, we ran a pretty tight process, and we ended up choosing Rocket Lab. Out of the 3 prices, I think Rocket Lab was the one in the middle. It wasn't the cheapest, wasn't the most expensive. And I think for us, from a personal perspective, I felt comfortable with Rocket Lab. I don't have a technology background, as I mentioned earlier, so choosing a company that I felt I could trust, that I was confident of their ability to deliver, and that I thought the relationship would, if it got to a sticking point, I thought the communication would be really good and we'd be able to sort through it. It's obviously we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with Rocket Lab on our MVP. So for us, that before we've gone to market and got paying customers, it was quite a big
investment
for us. So we needed to make the right decision, and from those perspectives, I felt comfortable being a non-technology person to sign with Rocket Lab, and I think our team bought into the experience of Rocket Lab's team as well, and they had comfort from their level too. So it's definitely not about price. That's only a very small component to it. I think look, we went through a decent process throughout 10 years.
What results did you achieve? So once we delivered the platform and the app and all the products in between, what were the results, say from when we delivered in, I believe, in early or late 2020, early 2021? What are the results? So do you have some key numbers for us that you can talk about in terms of growth, customer stickiness, etc.? Tell us a bit more about some key numbers.
All right. Well, we've gone from like those two pilots of 400 odd apartments to nearly 30,000 today in 4 years. So pretty short amount of time. and we actually haven't churned that many customers. We've probably lost a couple of percent. So in terms of that, the product is good. We've done a lot of work on it since Rocket Lab handed it over, but the backbone that Rocket Lab created for us is still in play today, and it's still very, very good, very strong. And I think that's what I think was probably like most impressed about. It was probably the handover from Rocket Lab to Erin. So we obviously used Rocket Lab to build our MVP, and then we kind of built a team once that product was live, and we still used some of Rocket Lab's capabilities within our team for a period of maybe 6 months while we built our team. So I think the migration of a Rocket Lab built product to an Erin team, continuing on from that product delivery, that was really smooth. And that was something that was sort of critical to us building a team off a product that was built by an external company. So honestly, if I had my time again from that perspective, I would have done it exactly the same, because I felt that was a really smooth transition. And we would have had to spend, north of $500,000 on wages to the team that built out our product that you built. And you go through a process of hiring. It would have been 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks to hire those people, put the team together. But we weren't an established business at that stage. So I think, Rocket Lab, once we agreed with you guys, you started a few weeks later, and off we went, so we weren't an established business or organization by that stage. So getting your skill set and abilities to just, once we'd chosen you to start work, get into it, probably saved us like so much time and unknowns, because we were in uncharted waters at that stage. So that was really positive. So if I had my time again, I'd choose an external company and go down the path of Rocket Lab to do that. I would have done all of that exactly the same. There's always tweaks and learnings. I probably would have added a few extra features and components to the product, and probably squeezed you a little bit more to get a few things built in there. But apart from that, we're really happy. And again, we still use a number of your capabilities today, so that help us when we need to. So the relationship from that perspective has been good. But yes, it's a long answer to your question, but the numbers have gone from 400 to nearly 30,000. So it's pretty.
And how likely would you be to recommend us? So I'm guessing it's very likely, but tell me.
Obviously, we still use you guys today, and I've been pretty glowing of my endorsement. For the record, I wasn't paid for this interview, so I'm not on the tape. We were very happy with Rocket Lab. I have already referred a number of people to Rocket Lab already, and will continue to do so. So I consider myself a pretty tough customer at times as well. So I think Julian's ability and his team's ability to deal with my expectations is something that you probably weren't going to ask me about. But dealing with customers and what they want is a skill in itself, I believe. I have a vision, and we're paying you to deliver on that. So there's a level of expectation that we have on someone that doesn't know anything about our product, which is always going to be difficult. You're never going to do it the way that I want it, but it's hard. So managing that expectation is really important, and I think you and your team do that really well too.